Hello and welcome to this presentation on Slippery Rock University's process toward Middle States reaffirmation of accreditation. My name is Mary Hennessy and I work in the Office of the Provost. I'm speaking with you today as the ALL, the Accreditation Liaison Officer, who is the primary contact between Slippery Rock and the Middle States Commission. I am also with Rebecca Maurice, the co-chair of the self-study process. The Middle States Commission on Higher Education, also known as Middle States or MSCHE, is a regional accreditor and covers our general Slippery Rock institutional accreditation. Middle States works in tandem with the State System Office and with the Department of Education and covers Delaware, D.C., Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. We also have a variety of programmatic accreditations that are program specific. The big carrot with Middle States is that it paves the way for us to get Title IV financial aid money from the federal government. To give you some context, about 85% of our undergraduates receive some Title IV funding, so it is an important reason to care about the Middle States process. Slippery Rock has been accredited by Middle States since 1943. So what will this presentation cover? You will learn not only about the purpose of Middle States and why accreditation is important to SRU, but also about the intended outcomes of the self-study. The self-study has several goals, but essentially allows us to demonstrate that we meet and have the processes in place to continue to meet our Commission expectations. It requires the institution to present assessment and plans for improvement and innovation through the lens of the mission. The focus on mission allows Slippery Rock to be different from other schools in the region. Another expectation from the Commission is that we have broad-based involvement in the process. They want to know that the wide university constituents were included and that the report was written not just by a couple of people in a locked room. We'll be including the Council of Trustees, faculty, students, staff, administrators, and others from the university community. If at any time you'd like to explore more detailed information about Middle States or SRU's progress, you can visit the two websites provided. You can see their addresses at the bottom, www.msche.org or www.sru.edu/msche. The next two slides are the screenshots of the Middle States and Slippery Rock sites. This is the Middle States site. Here you can see the grants of accreditation for Slippery Rock or for any other institution and explanations of the videos about each standard. The Middle States website will provide much more in-depth details about federal compliance as well as the 7 standards and requirements of affiliation. It has some wonderful videos that discuss the Commission's approach to each standard and to the self-study process. This is the Slippery Rock site, which is accessible from the home page or the vanity URL www.sru.edu/msche. The Slippery Rock website will be regularly updated to reflect upcoming activities, progress, and calls for community response, which could include opportunities to respond to a survey, give feedback, or attend a meeting. You can also see the members of the various committees. The Middle States Commission on Higher Education is a regional higher education accrediting agency. There are 6 regions in the United States. All 14 PASHE institutions are in the Middle States region. One important thing to remember about regional accreditation is that it covers all types of institutions. So Middle States covers public institutions like us, but also community colleges, research institutions such as Carnegie Mellon University, private institutions, and selected for-profit institutions. According to the Commission website, Middle States is a voluntary, non-governmental membership association that defines, maintains, and promotes educational excellence across institutions with diverse missions, student populations, and resources. It examines each institution as a whole rather than specific programs within institutions. Its goal is to assure students and the public of the education quality of higher education through a process that ensures accountability, self-appraisal, improvement, and innovation. Member institutions are required to maintain a culture of ethical practices and institutional integrity. An important part of the Middle States process is that each institution is given the freedom to address these mandates within the context of its own institutional mission. This allows us to focus our self-study in ways that are appropriate for us and can be different from that of a community college like CCAC or even other state system schools. You'll hear references to our mission throughout this process. Middle State's expectations for accreditation are defined through 7 standards, 15 requirements of affiliation, and 8 areas of federal compliance. For those of you who may be familiar with SRU's past Middle State self-studies, you will note that the requirements are different now. In 2014, Middle States changed the self-study process from 14 standards to 7, recognizing that this new process will allow for overlaps in an institution's practices. Additionally, Middle States also changed the interval between reaccreditation from 10 years to 8, eliminating the need for the periodic review report at the midway point. There are many benefits inherent in this process of self-study and peer review. Because the Middle States process focuses on an institution's ability to demonstrate continuous improvement, Slippery Rock must engage in a regular process of assessment, demonstrating that we are maintaining our commitment to our stated mission and goals. Importantly, Middle States also encourages innovation in the methods in which an institution meets its stated goals, allowing institutions to try new models and paths for success. In meeting the quality standards of Middle States accreditation, institutions are in accredited status, and this permits them to state with confidence, "Our students are well served, society is well served." SRU has 4 intended outcomes for the self-study. The first is reaffirmation of our accreditation status. The main reason we're undertaking the self-study is to continue our status as an accredited institution. The second is that we will demonstrate that we meet all standards, requirements of affiliation, and federal compliance mandates. I'll explain more about those in a minute. Third, we will be using the standards to evaluate 3 institutional priorities that will be identified in early 2019. Institutional priorities guide the university in fulfilling our mission and moving us forward. They are areas of focus that encompass both strengths and areas of opportunity and must be linked to our mission. Throughout a process of engagement with the university community, SRU has been working to identify 3 mission-related institutional priorities. Please visit the SRU Middle States webpage we saw earlier for more information about these priorities. Finally, the self-study will serve as an opportunity to engage the entire community, allowing students, employees, alumni, and external stakeholders the opportunity to participate in a process that will help to define the university's direction for the immediate future. The Middle States accreditation process centers around the creation of a self-study document that demonstrates the ways in which SRU complies with the standards and requirements. Importantly, any conclusions that are made in the self-study document must be supported by data or substantiating as evidence. This will be a large part of the work ahead of us as we move toward writing the self-study. The first set of Middle States criteria is the 15 requirements of affiliation. The requirements of affiliation are essentially yes or no items that indicate that we're operating an institution that has students and produces worthwhile outcomes. The 15 requirements include items such as the institution must be authorized or licensed to operate as a post-secondary educational institution by the state of Pennsylvania, that it's operational with students actively pursuing their degree programs, that it complies with federal laws and state laws, that it's mission appropriate, that it has adequate financial resources, and an appropriate governance structure. The governance structure is responsible for quality and integrity of the institution and ensuring that the institution's mission is being carried out, and in our case, this is the Council of Trustees. The second set is the 7 accreditation standards, which was designed to be mission-centric, focused on the student learning experience, assessment-driven, and innovative. The 7 standards are mission and goals, ethics and integrity, design and the delivery of the student learning experience, support of the student experience, educational effectiveness assessment, planning, resources, and institutional improvement, and finally, governance, leadership, and administration. The third area is the federal compliance requirements. These requirements shift from time to time as federal laws change, but in general include regulations such as verifying the identity of online students and having published transfer credit policies. SRU must demonstrate that our policies regarding the assignment of credit hours conform to commonly accepted practice in higher education. SRU's reaccreditation process will take approximately 2.5 years to complete in 4 distinct phases. The first will be the creation of the self-study design, which outlines our approach to the process. It will also present the timeline for the process and identify the self-study committee members. This phase will be completed during the spring and early summer of 2019. The second phase will be the creation of the self-study document. The draft of this document is expected in early 2020, with a final self-study document completed in late 2020. The third phase will involve the campus visit by the Middle States Evaluation Team. This will take place in spring 2021. The final phase of the accreditation process will be the creation of a report by the evaluation team, SRU's response to the report, leading to the Commission deciding on our accreditation by the summer of 2021. This process of accreditation will require the work of many people across all areas of the institution. This work and process is being coordinated by a steering committee led by co-chairs Mary Hennessy, me, and Rebecca Maurice, chair of the theater department. In 2019, the steering committee will create 9 working groups who will meet, research, and report on their designated standards and priorities. There will be a working group to focus on each of the 7 standards, as well as additional groups who will focus on the evidence of compliance and communication with the SRU community. Finally, we want to invite you to take part in this process. What options are available? First, over the course of the self-study, there will be various calls for feedback. These will come in the form of surveys, emails, open forums, and meetings on campus. We urge you to respond to these calls for feedback. Second, in order to complete the work necessary for this process, you should consider volunteering for committee work and for various working groups. Third, all offices, departments, and programs need to actively engage in the process of assessment, incorporating the feedback received into meaningful avenues for improvement. And finally, attend any open meetings that are announced, especially when the Middle States visitors are on campus. So how will you find out about the process and opportunities to participate? Check in regularly at our SRU Middle States website for updates on the process. The site now has a volunteer link. This accreditation is incredibly important for SRU, and we encourage you to actively engage in this process. It is not meant to be a checkbox, but rather a dynamic process which engages campus in reflection and renewal. Again, the SRU Middle States website can be found at sru.edu/MSCHE. Thank you for joining us in this process of accreditation. If you have any questions, please contact me or my co-chair, Rebecca Maurice. We'd be happy to help, and we look forward to speaking with you. Thank you.